Hello, I'm Hansa Parchment. You're watching Talawa TV with Crystal Davis.
I think the uniqueness of the Reggae Girls is they embody the national motto of Jamaica, which is out of many one people. So when you look at the entirety of the Jamaica squad, you have dark-skinned girls, mixed-race girls, girls who have black and Asian in them. You also have the homegrown players, so like your Bunny Shaw, your Konya Plummer, your Denden Blackwood. So what that means in terms of from a grassroots perspective is girls who are born in Jamaica can look at a Bunny Shaw and hear that authentic accent and say, you know, if Bunny can make it, then so can I. Once you hear that authenticity, that raw Jamaican accent, they should be able to look at a Bunny Shaw who's now our captain to say, if Bunny can do it, especially if you come from the same community, the same parish as her, if she can do it, then so can we.
I want to give a big bless up to the Reggae Girls out there. They ain't believe in us. John did. Reggae Girls, keep winning, keep inspiring. I know you're going to be great out there, World Cup. Sadella Marley, number love. Bless up from DJ Khaled.
And I'm represent for the Reggae Girls. You know what I mean? Big up on yourself every time. Especially if you're qualifying for the World Cup back to back. You know what I mean? Sadella, big up yourself. One love every time. You know the thing go. Blessing off a flow like a river. Blessing off a flow like a river. What the Reggae Girls do? Left them name night earth like a queen. Me have to big up the top soccer team. You know Massacre represent. Jamaica support you every time. You know the thing go.
Hello, I'm Hansa Parchment. You're watching Talawa TV with Crystal Davis.
I feel like I'm from UK, you know.
See the moonlights on the town. Whoa, I'm getting ready.
Hello, I'm Hansa Parchment. You're watching Talawa TV with Crystal Davis.
I feel like I'm from UK, you know.
See the moonlights on the town. Whoa, I'm getting ready. Talawa TV is in the town. Whoa, I'm getting ready. Got a corner on the telephone. Yeah, this is the Ocean of the Messenger, and you're watching Talawa TV with the host and best. Davis, take it away.
My Talawers, good afternoon, good evening, possibly good morning, all depends on where you're based in the world. Before I continue, guys, let me know if you can hear my TV. Maybe it's a little bit medium volume at the moment. Do let me know in the comment section if you can hear my TV. I'm trying to turn it down because I want to obviously avoid any copyrights violation. So do let me know if you can hear my TV at any point during the show. And I will obviously have to drop the volume because, like I said, don't want to get a copyright violation. Before I dive into tonight's show, I want to continue with a couple of my shout outs. I want to pick up Miss Rochelle Brown and also Mr. Paul Pagari. I hope I've pronounced your name right. Pagari Sims, a few of my channel members there. Thank you guys for your continuous support. Even if you're not part of the channel members, the channel membership, I still do appreciate you guys sticking with me and helping me to grow my community. Also, King Charles, I had a very touching conversation with one of my subscribers recently, and I was actually recapping our conversation today. So big up yourself, Mr. Philip Beckford. I haven't seen you in my comment section for a while. I hope that you are well. Travis McKenzie, a bit like Mr. Beckford there, I've not seen you in my comment section for maybe I would say well over a year. Much of that is my fault. And Mr. Marcus Garvey, I've not seen you in the comment section. Mr. Mikey Ballin, big up yourself there, Mr. Ballin. Mr. Ballin says, no TV sound. Big up yourself there, Mr. Ballin. Okay, that is good. And let me just express or echo what I've just said. I hope that you are all in good health, not just to the guys who I've given a special shout out to. I hope that each and every one of you were silently listening, commenting in the comment section, a bit like Mr. Ballin. Or if you're new to my channel, I hope that you're all in good health. I hope that your family and your loved ones are also in good health. And if you are not, then do pray. They say prayer moves mountains. I'm not going to take up much of your time on tonight's live stream. I do also want to apologize for missing out on yesterday's live stream. I was snowed under. I was busy. Today, I've actually been nursing a headache. But given that I didn't see you guys yesterday, I'm making it my duty to bite the bullet, I've got a headache and my eyes are in pain as well, but I'm going to stick around and give you guys your live stream. Jean Baptiste, I have not seen you in ages as well, Jean Baptiste. Apologies there for not giving you a special shout out. I've only returned to live streaming for the best part of, let's call it, I think under 2 weeks. So I'm still trying to like refresh my mind and see who isn't popping up and who is. So I do apologize there, Jean Baptiste. All right, guys. So let's look at our headline for tonight. I have different headlines, but when I was putting the show together for tonight's live stream, that is, Mikel Antonio was on my mind, and I just felt that it was only right of me to talk about Mikel Antonio. Also going to be talking about our captain, our skipper, Andre Blake. I'm going to be recapping our game against Cuba in the Concacaf Nations League, going to be looking at Jamaica, going to be looking at Cuba. And I'm also going to be rounding things off with the Reggae Girls, because I think the final part of my show actually ties in well with the Reggae Girls, hence combining the two. But Mikel Antonio, I'm going to sound like a bit of a scratch record because I've already discussed Mikel Antonio, and it's almost as if I preempted what could happen, and it has happened, not to a great deal, but some of what I said in relation to Mikel Antonio and the rest of his teammates, being that this might be the worst time of the year to be in camp if you are a Mikel Antonio, or if you are one of those guys that play in Europe, you know, with the kids going back to school. Those guys there in camp, they're no longer in Jamaica, they're in Honduras. We've got Honduras coming up in a couple of days' time. They probably, I would say 9, maybe 9 on a scale of 10 being the highest. I would say you're looking at 9 in terms of them missing out on those precious moments there with not being there to bring their kids back to school. So that obviously the weight of that burden is left with their moms, their mothers, and I'm sure that does weigh on the minds of your Mikel Antonio and his teammates there, not being able to be there for their kids as they would have liked. And I think that does take its toll. Whether it takes its toll to a great extent, I don't know. I'm not Mikel Antonio. I do know this though about our big friendly giant. He has been quite transparent in the last, let's call it, approaching a year now. Let's go a little bit backstep a little bit and take it to, I think around May is where he was as transparent as I think he's ever been. And I think a lot of his transparency has been overlooked. I don't think it's intentionally overlooked, but I think a lot of like Mikel Antonio has shared with us has been overlooked. And I think that is it makes sense for me to echo some of those things that Mikel Antonio spoke about in a recent interview. I'm going to do what I did on some live stream ago, some nights ago, pertaining to playing a audio clip there of Mikel Antonio, and then we're going to talk about the big man himself before moving on to the show. All right, and for context, I wanted to talk about Mikel Antonio because the reason why he popped up into my head, I was actually thinking about black footballers and mental health. And, you know, over the last decade or so, we've seen the bravery of our none other, one of our own, Mikel Antonio, Danny Rose, Dele Alli. Recently, we've also seen Richarlison come out and speak about their mental well-being. And I think, you know, it takes a lot of guts, it takes a lot of bravery for black men to step out of their comfort zone and be so transparent and so vulnerable. And I say vulnerable because when you look at the black community, when you look at mental health and mental well-being, it's taboo. Even as a black woman, I could kind of picture what it's like for black men, you know, because they're perceived as, you know, this masculine figure. They're supposed to be strong. They're not supposed to, you know, be weak in any stretch of the imagination. But at the end of the day, man or woman, black, white, pink, brown, they are human beings. So I think it's quite refreshing hearing the likes of the players that I've just named. So, you know, the Mikel Antonio, your Danny Rose, your Dele Alli, your Richarlison come out and be quite vulnerable and transparent with their 12th man. They owe us nothing, but it is wonderful and refreshing to see them speak about their vulnerability. And I hope that it does encourage other young black men to come out and not necessarily come out and speak on social media, but speak to someone and get the necessary help that they NBA so desperately needs. I'm gonna go ahead and play a audio there if I can play it for Mikel Antonio. It is quite a sensitive one. I think, if memory serves me well, he does speak about the passing of his dad. He also spoke about splitting up from his missus. I'm not sure if they've managed to repair the any bad terms that they were on, but this interview that I'm about to play to you guys is a little bit dated. It came out, well, I came across the interview, I should say, back in May of this year. I'm not really sure how old it is, but I do think it is relatively new, as in it came out at some point this year. Okay, so sit back, listen, and then I will continue to speak about Antonio before moving on to Andre Blake and the rest of the team pertaining to our performance against Cuba. Okay,
I started therapy. In that period, I started therapy because I was really struggling. And how I grew up, it was never a thing. I thought therapy for crazy people, therapy for people who can't control themselves and stuff like that. But therapy changed my life. At first, it's awkward. I'm not going to lie. Literally, you sat in the room, someone's there and goes, "How are you?" And your natural response is,
Fun.
"Fine." I'm all right. And he's like,
End of the session.
so he's like, "So why are you here? Like, what's getting you down?" I was like, to be honest, like, football, I'm struggling with football. I split up with my missus. My football was always my getaway from anything that happened in my life. My dad died and stuff like that. I went to football and I could black it out for the 2 hours that I was there or the 4 hours that I was there. So I was just really struggling. And then I sat there and I spoke to him. And then I'm a person where I'd never cry. And as I was talking to him, I just burst into tears. It was uncontrollable. And I'm not going to lie, that gave me some type of relief because I normally hold everything in and push it down. And that gave me some real nice relief where I was like, oh, and then like my chest felt like clear. And I just done sessions once a week, every week, just speaking to him, trying to get everything off my chest.
I'm also going to go ahead and read a article because it does tie into my point that I'm trying to make with you guys. But before I make my point, because I know I might sit here and then the message might still be tone deaf, I've decided to add a little bit of context. So much of what I've said so far pertaining to Mikel Antonio, linking other Black players who have stepped out and spoken about their mental well-being, depression, and so on, therapy, the whole lot. I'm about to give a little read of a article. The headline is quite striking. I'll go up and look at the headline. It is about the big man himself, Mikel Antonio. You should be able to read this one. Can you see it? Let me see. Yes, you can. I'll go ahead and read it for you. It says, Mikel Antonio hated football and wanted to be injured, as he opens up on mental health. And the bit of the article that stands out for me, I'm going to go ahead and read that bit to you guys right before I pause on the Mikel Antonio conversation. He says, I didn't score from December until I think it was March, April time. And I just feel like run down. And then I went away with Jamaica because I was enjoying football with Jamaica for some strange reason. But I actually prayed for an injury. Recounting his emotional struggle, the Hammers' top Premier League scorer ever continued. I was just like, I want to get injured. I just want some time off. And then I went to Jamaica and I did my knee ligament in November 2023. And I was thinking to myself, I'm 33. I can't afford to be performing this way. Otherwise, I'm not going to get another contract. Saying that to say, with all that we know of Mikel Antonio, funny enough, this interview came before the audio that I played with you guys, right? As I said, he's been quite vulnerable. He's been transparent pertaining to, conversation around his mental well-being. I will echo what I said on my live stream some 2-3 nights ago. If ever there was a time to back this man, now is that time. And it's interesting. I wanted to share that quote with you guys because he spoke about Jamaica, and it's quite I was actually caught off by surprise that in the midst of all his chaos, he looked to Jamaica as a place of solace. And I was like, okay, because our fan base is so toxic. But it was intriguing to see that in the midst of all the chaos that comes with the Jamaica 12 man, he saw Jamaica as a place of comfort and a place that offered him some feel good factor. I'm not sure why that is, but clearly, judging by what he said in that interview, that is the case. So I'm saying that to say, guys, yes, we know the outcome of the game. Yes, we are all frustrated, but given the transparency and the openness of Mikel Antonio, let's not kick a man when he's down or when he's on his way up, because I don't know Mikel Antonio. I don't know where he's at in terms of finding peace with himself and bringing himself back up to where he was, or maybe even going above that. I don't know him. As I said before, black men have been conditioned not to open up. Thankfully, with Mikel Antonio, is the opposite of that. And as I said, it is encouraging. I'm not a young black man, but I do believe that his honesty and his transparency will be encouraging to other young black men to step out and speak to someone when necessary. Yes, I understand that Mikel Antonio, he is not your favorite player. He's probably not someone that you grew up listening to or looking up to. Yes, he's not your cousin, he's not your friend, he's not your brother, but he is a brother. He is our brother at the end of the day. And fair play to him, because when you're coming on these international duty, especially when you reach a certain age, it does come with its own risk. The risk is probably multiplied. Mikel Antonio is 34 years old now. Yes, it is an honor to accept the call up to come and play for your national team, but as with everything or with most things in life, it carries its own risk. And the risk with a Mikel Antonio, given that he has had a few injuries here and there at club level and subsequently also at international level, as he said back there in 2023, almost a year ago. I think the game was against Canada, where he had his knee injury. At this age, I think the risk is magnified because it could simply be a career-ending injury. And his injury that we picked up on international break almost a year ago, that happened at the early part of the season. So you can imagine, as for West Ham, I'm not sticking up for them, but they were quite, let's say, annoyed. Let's put it politely. They were annoyed because they obviously see their big guy as an asset. And the fear back then was that it might have brought his season to an end. And subsequently, it depending on the injury, thankfully, it wasn't career ending. But when you're in those dangerous waters where you're hearing about injuries being career ending, it simply means that your mind starts wandering on whether or not your club will give you a contract extension. Obviously, if your club don't give you a contract extension, it simply means that your income stops. If your income stops, that then has a knock-on effect on your family. Your family is impacted by that. So I'm saying that to say, let's not be tone deaf. Let's not act like little petulant children. Let's not ignore the elephant in the room when we're analyzing these guys. They are human beings. They have been as transparent as ever. And let's take some of that transparency and that knowledge that we know of these guys, especially the big lad there, Mikel Antonio, when we're doing these deep analysis of them. All right. And that's what I wanted to speak about as it relates to Mikel Antonio. Before I go any further, I do also want to talk about our captain, the skipper, Mr. Andre Blake. You might have seen this one, guys. Let's go ahead and see if I can bring it up on screen in a bit. Andre Blake, our Reggae Boyz captain, he recently committed somewhat 500 thousand, I believe it is Jamaican dollars, to his alma mater, Clarendon College, and the funds will be used to help renovate the football field at the renowned establishment. And I'm going to play a short footage there of the special occasion, Mr. Andre Blake there handing over the check of 500,000 to Clarendon College. And that is the footage there of our captain, our skipper, Andre Blake. He's also another philanthropist. So it's another philanthropist adding to Leon Bailey. I do know a couple other reggae boys have given back to their community in the past. Don't put me on the spot because I don't want to make up names, but I'm sure if I sat down and thought things through, I could give you guys some names. Maybe that's a conversation for another day. Now let's get to the purpose of tonight's live stream. A game of two halves. Be interesting to hear what you guys make of the game against Cuba some 2 nights ago, which was played in Kingston, Jamaica, our Concacaf Nations League fixture. That one ended 0-0, although I feel like for Cuba, that probably feel like 3 points, but I don't want to speak on behalf of them. But for me, definitely, this one was a result that I had to take on the chin. I had to go away and just kind of calm my nerves before giving you guys my analysis of the game. So let's go ahead and actually bring something up. Let's stop this shared screen and let's go ahead and bring up some match stats. I know some of you like your stats, so let's go ahead and look at some stats there. I hope you guys have been kind enough to hit the like button. Right, you guys have hit the like button, and you know, if you're new to the channel, do you go ahead and hit the subscribe button. And again, guys, I know Mr. Ballin has already told me that he cannot hear the live stream. I went back and listened to my stream of the match 2 nights ago, and I could hear my TV. And really, guys, copyright violation frightens me, so I've had to pull that one. So if you try to rewatch it, you won't be able to watch it, unfortunately. Right, so let's go ahead and look at the results. And that's how it ended, if you don't already know. We drew 0-0 against 10 men Cuba. This one played at the National Stadium, the Office, or the Independent Park. Some match stats there for you: 72.7% possession for Jamaica and 27.3% possession for Cuba, our visitors. Shots on the night, let's say 21 to Jamaica, for Cuba 4. Shots on target, 7 to Jamaica, 0 to Cuba. Shots off target, 8 for Jamaica, 3 to Cuba. Block shots, 6 for Jamaica, 1 for Cuba. Goalkeeper saves, 0 for Jamaica, 7 for Cuba. Fouls committed, 17 for Jamaica, 10 for Cuba. And corners, 12 for Jamaica, 3 for Cuba. I'm going to keep that there on the screen. If you guys want me to go through it again at any point during the show, do let me know and I'll go ahead and do that for you. Right, let's do a little bit of history before I give you guys my thoughts. Ancient rivalry. I think it's safe to say that I've got some ancient rivalry there as it relates to the visitors on the Friday night's occasion. So for context, first ever international fixture between these two sides occurred back in 1930 in the American and Caribbean Games. Unfortunately, Khaki is, if you're a Reggae Boyz fan, they did stuff us 3-1 on that particular occasion. Fast forward 8 years later, and Cuba became the first Caribbean nation to qualify for the FIFA Men's World Cup, thus making them the first Caribbean nation to qualify for a World Cup in general. They are nicknamed the Lions of the Caribbean, saying that to say we are no strangers to each other. We're very familiar. Now, before I get into the negatives, I think it's only fair to add a bit of balance and talk about some of the positives there for the Reggae Boyz. I think I can start off with bigging up the 12th man. The Reggae Boyz have been pleading for the 12th man support, and they asked and they received their support. I think this is probably one of the probably the most active I've seen Reggae Boyz supporters at the National Stadium. It's funny because I feel like overseas, they're more visible. I don't know, maybe you guys can correct me there in the comment section. So big up the 12 man. They showed up and they were as loud as ever. Also, extend those big ups to the Jamaica Football Federation and 876 Stream. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, do correct me in the comment section, I believe 876 Stream is the official media partner for the Jamaica Football Federation, right? Again, if I'm not mistaken, do feel to correct me. Saying that to say, they promoted the hell out of this match. They promoted this match to its full strength. And I think if we're being fair, it's safe to say I believe they played a role in getting those numbers into the stadium. I don't know how true that is, but from an outsider looking on, I think they played a role in that. As I said, I feel like this has probably been in terms of recent years, that is, with all of the chaos, the negativity, within the 12-man sector and internally, all of that madness. I feel like since then, this has probably been the most visible the 12th man has ever been. Hopefully, fingers crossed, long may it continue. Now, in terms of the game itself, some little positives there to toy with. Good to see the lads moving the ball forward, attacking as one, playing together. As I said, that's all good to see. But I feel like, if I'm being honest with myself, yes, it's my team, yes, it's my country, but I don't want to be biased. I think, given what we have seen so far, it's a little bit basic in my opinion. It's almost like maybe that's Steve McLaren's idea, stripping things back to basic. But I kind of feel like it is a reminder of where we're at. And I think that allows us to see the gap between where we're at and where we want to be. I will also say that it was good to see us try to utilize our strengths. We did that on a number of occasions in the first 45, and we did so by looking at the wide players. So, you've got let's say Gray and Jamal Lowe, also Dexter and Jamal Lowe and Gray and Bell. It'd be interesting, as I named those four players separately, to see how fruitful their future partnership can be. Obviously, the big miss on tonight on Friday night's occasion was goal. That's what we all want to see when we're watching the football match. I will say, given that that game was kicked off 1 a.m. UK time, I was livid because I didn't get what I wanted, which was a goal. And I think if we had seen a goal and we had won that match, there probably wouldn't be much to complain about, if we're being honest with ourselves. If you want to be a little bit fair, a goal and a win, 3 points in the bag would have given McLaren, I think, the perfect or ideal start. But I think much of the positives, maybe I'm being a little bit harsh, but I think much of the positives started and ended in the first 45. As I said, the game was a game of two halves, and here comes the negatives for me, and you guys feel free to give me your opinions. I'm not looking at the comment section just yet because I want to just get everything that I want to get off my chest before I forget. Midfield, I still believe that our midfield needs improvements. Not happy with the midfield, guys. Casey Palmer, he did look lively. I don't want to scapegoat no one, and I'm not going to do that, but I think we are still missing that individual who's going to be the one to grab the game by the scruff of the neck. We've seen there on screen in front of you guys that we had the bulk of possession, almost 80% possession there for Jamaica. But possession don't win you games, and it's all cute and well having the majority of the possession, but if you don't execute the end product, if you're not clinical when you need to be in the final third, then you just find yourself being wasteful. And I think, without being disrespectful, we were wasteful, unflattering. I think at times we looked a bit too comfortable. And I can't speak for the lads, and I don't want to be overly negative, but I'm trying to be as balanced and as objective as I can be. And I'm open for you guys to correct me in the comment section. I rewatched the game, and it just seemed as if we, to an extent, underestimated our opponents. There's this little hypeness about us, and I kind of feel like it's in our Jamaican DNA. And the hype isn't necessarily a negative thing. I just feel like we have that hype. If you're from France, you probably call it je ne sais quoi, right? But I kind of feel like within that little hype that we have as people, again, within our DNA, I felt like we were, in some sense, toying with our opponents. Again, I'm open to hear what you guys have to say. And I think because we were toying with the opponent, it just led us to just squander a number of chances, multiple chances, that is. And I think, you know, and I'm not really sure why that is, but as I always say, as with anything in life, if you do not take yourself serious, guys, no one's going to take you serious. I hope you guys didn't hear that loud bang. There's something that I need to pick up, but I'm not going to pick it up just yet. I just hope that I didn't wake up my neighbor, because it's almost 12 a.m. here. Sorry, I just got distracted. As I said, guys, if you don't take yourself serious, no one will take you serious. And I think that third place finish in the Nations League, we can kind of put that to bed now, because I think we're on a clean slate, new dawn, new day. Yes, the Nations League third place finish does offer us a platform to build on, but at the end of the day, I don't want us to get complacent. I don't want us to get carried away, because in the grand scheme of things, in the essence of things, we have yet to achieve a major honor, and the major honor for the Reggae Boyz is to obviously go back to the heights of football, which is to take ourselves back to what do you want to call it? Take ourselves back to the FIFA Men's World Cup. Haven't done that yet since 1998. And talking about the third place finish, it kind of reminds me of the Reggae Girls, coincidentally. I think when you put yourself in that position, you out of the controllables become you kind of create your own target. You have this target on your back. You become a source of inspiration within the Caribbean Sea, similar to what we saw with the Reggae Girls. I think it was Dominica Republic. They were like pumped up and wanted to smash our faces in, but thank God that didn't come to fruition. You know, the third place finish, as I said, I think it puts a target on our back. We become a source of inspiration. Opponents want to spoil our party. Why not? Opponents want the headlines for themselves. And I think that's probably what you saw against Cuba. They went down to 10 men. And I think in football, when you see your visitors or your opponents go down to 10 men, you probably think, okay, we should be home and dry, given that we are playing at home, but unfortunately it didn't. I don't think that going down to 10 men made a slight bit of difference for Cuba, or actually it might have spurred them on. It probably gave them that encouragement to go harder. As they say, when you're looking at like club football, and maybe you can extend that to international football, defense wins you titles. You have to give Cuba credit for how they carried themselves. 10 men, but they made the game look fairly even. If I was just watching and I didn't notice that they had 10 men on the team, I would have thought that it was just 11 against 11. Yes, the Jamaican players are the more notable players, no disrespect to Cubans, but I think for me, it was wonderful to see the fact that once they went down to 10 men, but as a collective, they took accountability into their own hands, especially the goalkeeper. I was quite unfair towards the goalkeeper on my watch along. I said in the second 45 that if things continue, he should be the man of the match. But actually, in hindsight, having looked back at the game, I would say the goalkeeper, the Cuban goalkeeper, that is, for me, was the most switched on player on the game throughout the duration of the 90 plus minutes. Answered all questions when called upon. Like I'm gonna sound a little bit probably too negative for some of you guys there in the comment section. Hopefully not overly negative, but I feel like we are now at a point, guys, where we need to act now, and I say we, as in the Jamaica Football Federation and McLaren and his backroom staff. I think we've reached that point where we've tasted some success there as it relates to the Concacaf Nations League, third place finish, putting medals around our neck. And now we need to move to the next step. I think it's about time that we start to get our act together. I think we need to position ourselves well enough for that inevitable baton exchange. I think that baton exchange that you see in athletics needs to start now. I'm not saying that we need to remove the old guard. Definitely not saying that. But what I'm saying is, from my experience, successful football team at club level, they produce that baton exchange seamlessly. So what I'm expecting, or what I would like to see from the Reggae Boyz as it relates to that baton exchange, is for the present and the future. I want to see the present and the future present in the present. Hopefully that makes sense. Let me say that again. I want to see the present and the future present in the present. And what I mean by that is, I want to see the now, as in the current crop of players teaching the next generation. I want to see us align ourselves where, when the inevitable happens, where you have those older players step aside, that there isn't too great of a drop off. As I said, we'd love to see the current players teaching and educating the next generation. I think if we don't have that proper baton exchange set in place, then looking at 2030 is probably a little bit bleak, because I think if you don't adequately prepare yourself for the successes of 2026, then you probably will find yourself missing out on more World Cups to come in the future. And some of these guys, again, I'm not going to scapegoat no one, so I'm not going to name no one. Unfortunately, sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but some of these guys are already at their peak. But the problem with that is, for me, is, and I'm not just talking about Friday's game, just in general, just speaking broadly, unfortunately, their peak isn't good enough. So as it is with football, it's inevitable that you're going to have a drop off. It happens to all of the greats. And for me, if your peak isn't good enough, you can only imagine how horrendous your drop off will be. McLaren, I'd like to see if he's going to tap into the McLaren of yesteryear. I do want to see him be bullish in that regards when it comes to making his mark, when it comes to making those tough calls, as we saw when he did, as we saw what he did when he was the England manager. Recall some of the big decisions that he made when he first found himself in the driving seat, dropping the likes of football legend, football icon David Beckham, stripping him of the captain's armband, shutting the door on David James and Sol Campbell. Yes, new dawn, but I think that new dawn, as things stand, is questionable. And I did say that I was also going to touch on the Reggae Girls, because I think, ending on what I've just said pertaining to wanting to see the new gaffer make those tough calls and start to look at those baton exchange. Lauren Donaldson did it. Lauren Donaldson upset a lot of people when he came back and sat in the driving seat before he took the girls to the World Cup. He caused multiple upsets. He made some tough calls. Arguably, even if you're not a fan of Lauren Donaldson, you could probably say that some of those tough calls helped Jamaica to not only go to back-to-back World Cups, but also go to the round of 16. The good news there with the Jamaica, with the Reggae Girls, is that for their first World Cup cycle, they had talent, youth, hunger, and determination, and that was shared across the team. They were disrespected. They had a point to prove. Success wasn't by accident, nor was it through good fortune. And I think the reason why they were able to echo and double those back-to-back World Cup appearance there was because the success was already laid out in front of them. They already had a foundation to build on. And I think the reason why that is because when you look back at that Reggae Girls team from the first World Cup cycle, they had the perfect combination of short and long-term gratification. Now, when I look at the current Reggae Boyz, I don't see that. I see people wanting long-term gratification, and you really do have to be careful of what you're asking for, because if you want long-term gratification, then that's probably an indication to tell you that you're not going to the 2030 men's World Cup, because I'm gonna ask you guys how many of these current Reggae Boyz will make it to 2030. You guys can probably only give me one or two of those players, and I think that is pretty much all that I have to say for now. I'm gonna go ahead and look at what you guys have to say there in the comment section. marketing partners. Are they marketing partners? Thank you. Now I know. I thought they were like official media partners. My mistake. My apologies. Big up yourself, and all the guys there in the comment section. Danny Dread. It's been a while. Jamaica. That's Jamaica. When you are on top, they are quick to. When you are on top, they are quick to jump. Yeah, absolutely. 100%. 100%. Big up yourself, Mario. Cranky, big up yourself, Cranky. If you're not familiar with Cranky, do search his YouTube channel in the search bar and subscribe to his channel. Isaac Brown. Isaac, I've not seen you in a while. Maybe you've been silently listening over the last couple of live streams. Mr. Knight Rider, big up yourself there, sir. I like what I saw in that game. Yeah, there isn't really much negatives from the game. The only thing missing was a goal. 100%. I don't know if they parked the bus. I just think we weren't clinical. I wouldn't say they parked the bus. They had a couple mind games. Cuba had a couple mind games of their own. Fair play to them. You got to do what you got to do to get a point or get 3 points, but I don't think they necessarily parked the bus. They defended well, and even if they parked the bus, I think it's something that they had to do, given that they had one man less than us. They were playing with 10 men. So if they did park the bus, maybe me and you are seeing things differently. If they did park the bus, I think it's something that they really and truly had to do. I don't think I have much more to add to what I've already said, guys. So I'm going to give myself a couple more minutes before I have to close off. It's just gone past 1 a.m. here in the UK. No, I'm lying. It's just gone past 12 a.m. Did I say 1 a.m.? It's just gone past 12 a.m. here in the UK, guys. So I do have an early start, so I will have to get to my bed shortly. I hope you guys had a great weekend, though, before I forget. I hope you guys had a great weekend, and I hope you have a splendid week when it comes. I hope you guys have a wonderful week when it comes. Yes, it is. Exactly. 12:02. Yes, me and you are in London, aren't we? 12:02. I think that is that there for me, guys. I hope some of you have been hitting the like button. Definitely hope that you guys, if you are new to the channel, I hope that you have hit the subscribe button as well. All right, I'm gonna give myself maybe 2 more minutes, guys. So fire away. If you have any questions, do fire your questions. I'm gonna do something over on YouTube. Bear with me. Bear with me, bear with me, bear with me. I was actually going to tell you guys to hop on someone's live stream, but no one is live streaming at the moment. No one that you guys would be interested in, at least. The usual suspects, they're not live streaming at the moment, so I can't see no one live streaming. I was going to point you guys in the right direction. I don't know. I don't see no one live streaming. Hold on there, guys. Let me go through my list. Let me go through my list. Yeah, no one's on, guys. I got some guys who are on, but it's not what you guys are after. What day is it? Today's the okay. Coach's desk, I think, is going live any second now. That's for athletics. That's if you guys like athletics. He's going to be going live. I think he's probably going to be talking about some potential Diamond League stuff. Don't quote me, but he's going to be going live. So maybe you guys want to head over to his channel. And that is that, guys. Hot Chili, good day. Good day to yourself. Oh, you ready for that dinner date? Oh, I told you, you scared me the last time. Good to see you in the comment section, though. Midnight work is the best. Yeah, sometimes. Before I came on, I had a headache. So, funny enough, oddly enough, it's actually gone away. Thank God. But I'm going to see if I can get something done before I get myself in bed. I got maybe just 1 more minute left with you guys, and then I'm going to close off on my live stream, okay? But before I forget my manners, thank you guys for supporting my channel. Thank you to those of you who are subscribed. Thank you to those of you who have also hit the like button, okay? You're in Brixton, South London. Okay. Brixton, I think that's 2 people. Or maybe I'm just making this. I know I've got 2 subscribers from South London though. I believe I think Super Nick is from South London. If memory serves me well. Hope I'm not just making stuff up. But I think Super Nick is also from South London. CC Sports Lab, how are you, sir? That's another content creator, guys. I'm not sure if he's going live, but from my list, he isn't live at the moment. If you're not familiar with his channel, get used to it. Familiarize yourself with his channel. Head over there and subscribe. Right, guys, I'm going to be closing off on my live stream in a couple seconds. And I will try to give you guys a preview of the Honduras game. If I'm being honest with you guys, I don't think I'm going to be up watching that Honduras match with you guys. Let me just double check something. That one's gonna be, I'm sure it's a 3 a.m. kickoff, which means the game, everything will come to an end at 5 a.m. I don't think I'll be doing that game with you guys. Going live Honduras game. What does that mean? As in you're going live now? Does that mean you're going live now? Or does that mean are you going to preview the Honduras game? I'm confused. Let's wait and see. No, you're not. Okay. All right, guys. Yeah, coach's desk. Something just popped up on my phone. So coach's desk has just started his live stream. So he's on cue. You guys can head over to, he's doing a watch along. Okay, well, CC Sports is doing a watch along on the Honduras match. So keep an eye on his channel. If you love athletics, make your way over to coach's desk. He literally just went live, so you can go over and show his channel some love. Thank you to you guys there in the comment section for sitting with me for almost an hour. We've been talking for 47 minutes. Good to see you guys there in the comment section, all the familiar faces. Always a pleasure seeing you guys there. If you're out and about, I do hope that you make it home safe and unharmed, because getting home is an underrated blessing. If I don't see you on my next live stream, so be it. It is what it is. I won't hold it against you guys. Let me just go ahead and close something on my tab before I have to end my live stream. And yeah, before I forget, just like the rest of the guys, if you want me to discuss any topic, then do let me know. Send me a DM or drop a comment on one of my videos and I'll get around to it, okay? Good night, Hot Chili. Good night to you guys there in the comment section. As always, thank you for your support. Until next time, take care.
I'm John Barnes, and you're watching Talawa TV with Crystal Davis.